Cronus was the youngest son of Uranus and Gaia, the leader of the first generation of Titans, and for a brief period the ruler of all gods and men. He successfully led the rebellion against his father, but soon grew as tyrannical as him, imprisoning both the Cyclops and the Hecatontres. I always have trouble with this one. And swallowing all of his children, save the last son. Eventually, this child, Zeus, will be the one to overthrow him and lock him away in Tartarus. Cronus was the son of Uranus and Gaia, the youngest of the original 12 Titans. This makes him the brother of the 5 male siblings, Oceanus, Hyperion, Corius, Cirrus, Leptectus, and the 6 Titanides. Ooh, I'm going to have to look this up.
Mnemosyne.
Tithias, Thea, Phoebe, Themis, and Rhea. Cronus eventually married his sister Rhea, with whom he fathered 6 children: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. According to an isolated tale, Cronus was also the father of the centaur Chiron, whom he begot after transforming himself into a mare to mislead the jealous Rhea and secretly mate with Philyra, the daughter of Oceanus. Because his name is often confused with the Greek word for time, Cronus was often depicted as old Father Time, with whom, conveniently, he did share a few characteristics: mercilessness, a beard, and a scythe. In fact, in many cases, the two are visually indistinguishable. Cronus played a crucial part in the creation of the known universe, first as a rebel against Uranus, then as a tyrant against whom Zeus led his rebellion. The story of Cronus begins with the irritable, hate-driven decision of his father Uranus, the sky, to not allow his children, the Cyclops, Hecatontres, or the Titans, to leave their mother's womb, i.e. the earth. Grief-stricken and straitened, Gaia devised a crafty little plan. She fastened an adamantine sickle, Happy, and appealed to her offspring for help. "My children," she said, "if you obey me, we should punish the vile outrage of your father." Cronus was the only one not seized by fear. So Gaia gave Cronus the sickle and hid him strategically in her womb. The very next night, when the love-longing Uranus came to lie with Gaia, Cronus stretched forth his hand and castrated him. Afterward, he released his brothers and his sisters, and buoyant and prideful, he proclaimed himself the king of all gods and men. After seizing power, Cronus married his sister Rhea, and for a while everything seemed all but perfect. Finally freed from her burdens, Gaia once again was blissful and more than generous, producing crops for all human beings of her own accord. Untroubled by the toils and hard work, the humans lived carefree and healthy lives, which ended peacefully and only when they were very old. Some say that even the gods themselves walked among the humans during the reign of Cronus. Undoubtedly, this was the Golden Age, the most beautiful of the 5 fabled ages of man. However, at some point, Cronus violently and dramatically changed his ways. Fearing rebellion, he imprisoned both the Cyclops and the Hecatontres in Tartarus, and set the dragoness, Campi, to guard them. Alarmed by a prophecy saying that he would be overthrown by one of his children, he started swallowing them all, one by one. Seeing that her husband has, in essence, transformed into Uranus, after being impregnated with her 6th child, Rhea turned to Gaia for help. Gaia counseled her daughter to go to Crete, where eventually the Titaness gave birth to the mighty Zeus. Prompted by further advice, Rhea left her child there and handed Cronus a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes in place of the supposed baby. Cronus swallowed the stone, unsuspecting of any foul play, and unaware that nymphs meanwhile were raising his eventual overthrower in Crete. When the time came, disguised as Cronus's cupbearer, Zeus managed to slip his father a vomit-inducing drink, prepared by Metis, in place of his favorite wine. This led to Cronus disgorging all of his children, who subsequently teamed up with the Cyclops and the Hecacontres and ousted him from power after a bloody decade-long war, remembered forevermore as the Titanomachy. Disposed from the throne, Cronus either escaped to Latium, modern Lazio, or was imprisoned in Tartarus with the rest of the Titans. Either way, he seems to have reverted to his good old days, since in time he was promoted to being the ruler of the Islands of the Blessed, a heaven-like abode where the souls of only the greatest heroes lived after their earthly deaths. Unlike the ancient Greeks, the Romans didn't consider Saturn, for that's what they called Cronus, all that bad. Believing that once he had escaped to Latium, the region of Italy that includes Rome, he instituted a golden age once again, this time solely in Rome. They celebrated him every December during a famous six-day festival called Saturnalia, probably Rome's most important holiday and one which has undoubtedly influenced the way people celebrate Christmas today. Hesiod's Theogony retells the story of the creation in quite detail, and Hesiod's other book, Work and Days, you can read more about the golden age of Cronus.